أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن جنحوا للسلم فاجنح لها وتوكل على الله إنه هو السميع العليم. In the previous verse, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned that we should prepare to fight in the path of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in whichever way a person can prepare. In this verse, Allah Ta'ala mentions, وَإِن جَنَحُوا لِلسَّلْمِ فَاجْنَحْ لَهَا وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. That if the kuffar, they incline towards peace, they want to enter into a peace treaty, they don't want to fight any longer, then you also incline towards it and place your trust upon Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. However, some commentators of Quran mention that this verse has been abrogated because of the command of jihad. So therefore, no longer can you now incline towards a peace treaty. This was at a time when the Muslims were few in number. But now when the Muslims are strong, they are many in number, then they must now go in jihad and fight in the path of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Innahu huwa as-sami'ul alim. Verily Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is all hearing and Allah Ta'ala is all knowing. وَإِن يُرِيدُ أَن يَخْدَعُوكَ فَإِنَّ حَسْبَكَ اللَّهُ. And if these kuffar, they intend to betray you and deceive you, then verily Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is sufficient for you. Meaning these kuffar, they want to enter into a peace treaty so that they can go and prepare for jihad. They get an opportunity to now stock up, to gather military equipment, etc., to fight you. Then don't worry, Allah Ta'ala is sufficient for you. هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is the one that will support you with His assistance and with the mu'mineen and the believers. And who are these believers that fought with you on the battlefield? وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. These are those believers that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had bonded between their hearts. Allah Ta'ala put love between their hearts. لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. If you had to spend all the resources that is in the earth, you would not have been able to bond and place love between their hearts. But Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had bonded and placed love between the hearts of the believers. Meaning the people of Madinatul Munawwara, the Aus and the Khazraj that were in Medina Sharif, they had so much of enmity and hatred for one another. Just few years before this, before the battle of Badr, when Jang-e Bu'ath had taken place, the battle of Bu'ath, the Aus told the Khazraj, we will wipe you out from the surface of the earth. And the Khazraj told the Aus that we will wipe you out from the surface of the earth. But just few years later, now they are fighting the battle of Badr. And they are so united, they got so much of love. Where did this come from? Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala had bonded their hearts. Innahu azizun hakim. Verily Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is almighty and Allah Ta'ala is all wise. Allah Ta'ala further says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, hasbukallahu wa man ittaba'aka minal mu'mineen. O Nabi, there's no need for you to worry. Allah is sufficient for you, and whoever follows you from the believers, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will suffice them as well. Our connection should be with Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala further says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, harridil mu'mineen ala al-qital. That, O Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that you encourage the mu'mineen upon qital, upon jihad. It is mentioned because of this, before the actual battle would take place, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would stand up and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam would deliver a sermon. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would encourage Sahaba to give their lives in the path of Allah and to fight in the path of Allah Ta'ala. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam would say that who would stand up toward that Jannat, the width of which is the width between the heavens and the earth. On one occasion, one Sahabi, Hazrat Umair bin Humam radiallahu ta'ala anhu, this Sahabi, he stood up and he said, Ya Rasulullah, the width of Jannat is the width between the heavens and the earth. He said, make dua to Allah Ta'ala. Allah makes me from amongst those people. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, you are amongst those people that will enter this Jannah. It is mentioned he took his sword out and the sheath of it, he broke the sheath. He took out the sword from the sheath and he broke the sheath. After breaking the sheath, this Sahabi started eating some dates. And he said that am I going to live so long that I'm going to finish these dates also. So he took the dates and he threw it one side and he went into the battlefield. And thereafter he was martyred. So Allah Ta'ala says, encourage the mu'mineen upon jihad. Thereafter Allah Ta'ala mentioned one important law, that when is it permissible for you to leave the battlefield and when is it not permissible for you to leave the battlefield. Meaning you have to remain on the battlefield and fight right until the end. إِيَّكُمْ مِنْكُمْ عِشْرُونَ صَابِرُونَ يَغْلِبُوا مِئَتَيْنِ. If there are 20 patient fighters from amongst you, they will overpower 200. Meaning when the ratio is 1:10, then you cannot leave the battlefield, you will have to continue fighting. وَإِن يَكُن مِّنكُم مِّئَةٌ يَغْلِبُوا أَلْفًا مِّنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَّا يَفْقَهُونَ. And if there are 100 fighters from amongst you, they will overpower 1,000 of the kuffar, because the kuffar is such a nation that cannot understand. So when the ratio is 1:10, then you cannot flee the battlefield. You will have to remain on the battlefield and fight right until the end. Allah Ta'ala further mentions, Al-ana khaffafa Allahu ankum. Now Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has lessened your burden for you. Allah has made it easier for you. وَعَلِمَ أَنَّ فِيكُمْ ضَعْفًا. And Allah Ta'ala knows that verily in you is some weakness. فَإِن يَكُن مِّنكُم مِّئَةٌ صَابِرَةٌ يَغْلِبُوا مِئَتَيْنِ. If there are 100 patient people from amongst you, they will overpower 200. Now Allah Ta'ala dropped the ratio from 1:10 to 1:2. وَإِن يَكُن مِّنكُمْ أَلْفٌ يَغْلِبُوا أَلْفَيْنِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And if there are 1,000 from amongst you, they will overpower 2,000 with the permission of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Wallahu ma'as sabirin. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is those people that are patient and make sabr on the battlefield. We'll continue from here.